Hey guys, we're going to take you on a little trip today. We're going to show you where we're going, but the whole purpose of this video is to show when lumber prices are like they are and you need to build stuff on your farm or on your house. We're going to show you the ways that you can save money, and this is the way we've built most of our barns here on our property, done a lot of work upstairs, and we're going to show you a little bit of that today. But we're going to give you the hack that we use that really helps us with buying lumber. So sometimes you just need to come to the source and cut out the middleman. So when we come to the lumber yard, it really makes a difference in pricing. You see all this lumber right here. This is all the same lumber that we're unloading out of the truck. That lumber over there, same lumber for that barn. That lumber right there, all that is the same lumber that we have unloading here from a local lumber company. I just talked to Aiden, I was just laughing. A common board, this is a 1x6x8, because we are building a new addition to the barn and we're actually adding some more shelving to this barn. So these 1x6x8s at Home Depot, just regular, not treated, regular 1x6x8s, I just looked up, are $10.84. Here's the clip. Oh my gosh, in 2 days they went up from that figure till now $11.88. These boards, and these are rough cut, so if you're wanting to sand them, make them look pretty, you can. But these are very heavy board because they're just cut. So where people say, oh, this pine won't last, or this oak, or whatever you're getting cut at this lumber yard won't last because it's not been treated, or it's not been, that water's not been drained out of, it's still green wood. Look, people built barns out of this kind of wood all the time back years and years and years and years ago, hundreds of years ago. And those barns sometimes are even still standing. So yes, we will let it dry a little bit, but this wood at Home Depot is $10.84 plus tax a piece. Guess what I paid for this? $2 a board. So let's think about that. We just bought 40 of these for $2 a board, no tax, because it's bought straight from the lumber yard. So we spent $80 on this wood. At Home Depot, this same order would have been $10.84 a piece. So let's say $11 because you have tax too. So say it's a little bit more than that, but say $11 to make it easy. We spent $80. This would have cost $440 at Home Depot. So that shows you can save money on lumber. You just have to look. Go to your local lumber yards, call your local lumber yards. They'll cut whatever you're wanting. If you're looking for a 2x6 or a 2x8 or a 2x12 or our 20-foot long, we get ours cut all the time from our two local lumber mills. You may not have one in your town. It's worth driving still maybe 20, 30, 40 minutes to get something. Because like for instance, that barn over there was built with 2x6s and 2x8s and 2x12s, 2 inches thick, versus these being 1x6s, 1x8s, and things like that. Reason being is because we wanted that to be a standalone barn. We were not putting it on any kind of wall, so it became the wall. We got that from another lumber company. We pay less for that than we do for this. And what that is we buy that by the tonnage, and we'll buy a whole ton for usually around $100. What a steal. So there's ways to save money with the price of lumber going up. Even our dairy barn and even our columns on our house that is holding up our porches are actually milled at a local lumber yard and not having to go and actually purchase them from a big box store. This run that you see that we've built, this barn right here, is all the same thing. Here's what we've done to stabilize this. So this gives you some ideas of what we did. We did use, when we went into the ground, these 6x6 here are the only thing that we got we bought from a big box store because we wanted these going into the ground. We did want to make sure they were stable. So we bought 6 6x6s to put in the ground when we actually did this. The rest is all from the lumber from the mill. We built this whole barn for less than about $150 worth of lumber. $150 worth of lumber. That's how cheap this was. The tin cost more than the whole barn itself. This run, we built this run for literally less than $100 too. All because we used the lumber from the lumber mill versus having to buy it from a big box store. So say for instance, in our area we have two softwood providers, so like a pine dealer, and they cut a lot of pine. So we had pine columns built, the 10 by 10 by 10s that are actually holding our house up right there on the back of the porch. Those we paid less than about $50 a piece for because they were just cut off one big timber. Now, we did on the front porch, they're still doing good. We stained them. The ways you can keep them from water getting penetrated in them is you can stain them. You can use a burning method where you just char them. You can put old diesel on them, put kerosene on them, and you can treat them that way. So the front column ones are doing great. They're pine and we've never had an issue with it. Now, the back porch where the pool is, where the salt is, we started having issues, so we did cypress. Again, cut from a guy who owns a wood miser. He cut the cypress, and that's actually how we built our smokehouse too. But here's those pine columns right here on the front of the porch. So that right there from Home Depot is over $300 a piece. Again, buying it from a local mill. You see the new addition that we're doing, and we have not talked much about this, but we're closing in our areas where our air conditioners are, also where our generator will be for the house, and just plumbing, all this stuff dealing with our house. We want it locked on our house. So we're building this out of the same wood that you saw, rough cut pine. We have less than $150 worth of lumber right there. The only things we bought that we could not get from the mill was these 6x6s. They were out of stock. So again, we bought 6x6s from Home Depot. We paid more for those two 6x6s than all the other wood on the whole shed. Say you're building raised beds. Say you're building a smokehouse. This is out of cypress, not out of pine. But all those things, you can call local lumber mills. They'll tell you where to get it, or either check with someone who's got a portable lumber mill or a portable sawmill, and you'd be surprised how much money you can save. Another thing, when we talk about lumber, guess what else we buy when we go to these sawmills? They also have sawdust, if you're wanting it for your chickens, which we don't use sawdust, we use pine shavings. They do their own pine shavings too, because that's their waste. So we're able to take their waste for pennies on the dollar. So instead of buying a $5 or $6 or $7 bag of pine shavings from Tractor Supply or from Walmart or wherever you're buying a co-op, we buy it from them by the truckloads for $30 to $35 for like 4 yards of pine shavings. So there's different ways you can utilize that lumber mill, and they can provide a whole lot more than just your common board. They can provide sawdust, they can provide pine shavings, they can provide bark cuts. Some mills do just chipping. So you can utilize things that sometimes their waste becomes your gain and can save you a lot of money. Again, I'm not saying go build your house out of this wood. If you're needing to use specific wood for specific things such as framing, absolutely utilize those things. But you can use this wood to do framing for your barns. You can use this wood to hang on walls, make a shiplap look. You can stain this wood for a cabin. All this wood we utilize. I mean, take from our examples that we've built outside structures, we used it inside structures. We've actually done it on our bar. The bar that you see that's in the kitchen, all that was done by 1x4x8s, and all we did was stain, cut, polyurethane, and put them on there, and they've been there for a long time. So there's ways you can save money by using this lumber, but be creative. You don't have to say, I gotta build my whole house with it, but then we gotta use this big box store to do all this. You can take bits and pieces and say, okay, I've gotta use the big box store for these few pieces. However, I can use this wood for other things, for kind of cosmetic cool things to look at. This rough look, we're trying to give this barn accent. We're trying to do this in our kitchen to make it look like it's a country home. I mean, there's all kinds of things. We have a farmhouse, so it really works well in our house. It shows that we have built so much infrastructure on this farm. And if we did not do it with money-saving efforts and price-saving measures, we literally couldn't have done all this. All these raised beds, every bit of this is built with wood from the lumber mill. No treating on it. All they did was cut it, put it in the truck. We've used it for years. Not saying you won't have to replace a piece here and there. I have not had to, but if you do, again, you have less than, I mean, you're saving 8 to 10 bucks a piece, if not more, on each piece of lumber. Replace it 5 times over 30 or 40 years. You're still saving money on the original process of building with wood that doesn't come from the big box stores, come from lumber mills. Hope this helps, guys. Gives you some hints and a hack. Also, if you like what you see on this channel with the homesteading how-tos and also just the daily vlogs, please subscribe below, and we love to see you come back and enjoy time together. God bless. Happy homesteading, y'all.